Hi, my name is Tengku Adia Tengku Izaha, and today I will present on my paper entitled Understanding Big Data to Improve Knowledge Management Practices, Gap and Limitation. First, let's look at the outline of the presentation. First, I will talk about the introduction, problem statement, objective, methodology, study approach, literature review, findings, future works, and conclusion. People have access to more data in a single day than most people that have access to data in the previous decade. And this data is created in many forms and it highlights the development of big data. Big data in organization has transformed the way organization across uh, industry to implement new approach to handle huge amount of data. It means change in skills, structures, technologies, and architecture. And again, this form of data are created in different formats such as social media, mobile data, sensor data, which mean the structured and of course the unstructured data. And of course, organization rely to this data to achieve specific business priority. And big data in organization has transformed the way organization across industry again to implement new approach in order for them to turn this data into insight, which is the knowledge. However, the problem is not the amount of data because again, we can say that everyday organization create new data. They have no problem with the amount of data. But the challenge is how to access this data to be viewed as the most important aspect in order to support organization daily activity because it is very important for them to identify which data is relevant to support their decision making process, to support the organization knowledge. And then again, even though there are studies have been done in knowledge management, but there's still little debate this day about how big data plays its role in knowledge management for efficient decision making. And again, there is no yet consensus about how best to incorporate big data and knowledge management in the organization, of course, to improve their business analytics and in-time decision making. Because nowadays, in-time decision making is very crucial. Organization need data, organization need information to support their decision making process. Therefore, it is very important to understand big data in order to improve knowledge management practices. So the objective of this research is to review previous study on big data and knowledge management in order to evaluate the level of big data awareness and understanding toward the implication of knowledge management practices. So in this study, we just want to look at the previous issue on big data and knowledge management and how by understanding big data can improve knowledge management practice. Therefore, in order to achieve the aim of this study, we will review previous study on big data and knowledge management. And then we identify the gaps and limitation between big data and knowledge management study. So for the literature review, we separate into two different categories. First, we look at the big data. And now, based on the table, we can see that most of the study focus on big data process from large amount of data set. The study focus on the creation from the beginning of the creation, the analytic, big data analytic, the computing approach, internet data, and the tool. But however, there is no study show the relationship between big data and knowledge management. Therefore, it is very difficult for us to identify the relationship between big data and knowledge management. How organization use big data, how organization implement big data, analyze big data in order to improve their knowledge management process. And then we look at the knowledge management. Table 2 show the result from the previous model on big data and knowledge. management. Based on the table, none of the study incorporate big data and knowledge management. For example, there is no study focused on a big data awareness, the effectiveness, the usefulness of organization. So again, it's very difficult to identify how these two elements, big data and knowledge management, can play their role in order to improve the process of organization in managing their knowledge. And then let's look at the gaps and limitation. So based on this table, we show some gap on big data and knowledge management. On the table, we can see that none of the previous study focused on knowledge management, but some of the study focus on the big data in terms of the retrieval and enterprise. So for us, in this study, it is very important for the organization to see from the aspect of big data. Why? Because again, organization create data. The information come from the data. Knowledge come from the useful information or organized information. So it's very important for the organization to see the process of how the data is accessed, how the data is retrieved, and how the data improve their enterprise process. Therefore, from that, they can improve the process on how they manage their knowledge, which is very important. This is the finding that we found in the study. So in the future, we will propose a framework to address the issue. We will develop a framework that incorporates big data and knowledge management. And in this framework, we will propose two different variables to evaluate the level of big data understanding in organization. And of course, the variables are considered important in this framework to drive better understanding of big data and how this variable relate to the implication of the knowledge management. So this is the framework, and of course the framework contains three main variables, which is there are experience of big data, the usefulness of big data, the effectiveness of big data. So in this study, it is very important for the organization to have these three variables, understand these three variables for them to improve the understanding of big data. Therefore, based on this understanding, they can improve the process of how they manage their knowledge. And then the originality of this framework lies in the question of the big data integration, the roadmaps. The roadmap contain references to concepts and properties from three different variables that are relevant to evaluate the level of understanding and awareness of the big data. The roadmap, again, will enable accurate integration between big data and knowledge management. The approach will enable the organization to have an overall view of big data, connectivity within and outside the organization, and to enable them to harvest interconnected information for analytic purposes, which will improve the implication of knowledge management in organization. And then we look at the significance of the study. Of course, the future framework will incorporate big data and knowledge management. It will allow domain experts and entrepreneurs from different domains to evaluate the level of big data in their organization by looking at the level of understanding, usefulness, effectiveness of big data. And this study may serve as a first step in understanding the relationship between big data and knowledge management. As a conclusion, most data we think about today from an enterprise perspective is sort of integrated. It's transactional. It's call center or call, or it's a web transaction, or it's a sale. It's a call or a piece of data with a product. Nothing in technology stands still nowadays, and this is especially true in order for data and analytics, in order for us organization to manage the knowledge asset. Therefore, it is important to understand the big data in order to improve knowledge management practices in any organization. That's all from me. Thank you for listening.